Welcome to Season 6 of the Coach Pony Podcast. We are here to help you get paid to coach, and sometimes to find clients you just need your questions answered. In this very cheesy 80s-themed season of the podcast, join me, Christie Mims, a career and business coach, and Bobbi Palmer, a dating coach, as we answer your burning questions about your coaching business so you get more paying clients. Because after building 6- and 7-figure businesses of our own, we've learned a few things. So with that, let's get down to business. Welcome to the Coach Pony Radio Hour, and we are here to tackle your burning coaching questions so you get paid to coach. And with that, let's go to the live callers. I can see the phone board is lighting up. So first caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Coach Pony, this is Derek calling in from Toys R Us to buy a Cabbage Patch Kid doll for my niece. I'm a first-time caller. Anyway, an acquaintance heard I'm a coach and wants to barter services. I'll give her free coaching, and she'll give me something like free fitness training. Should I take it?
Okay, Bobbi, I love this question from our caller. Let's dive in. What is your hot take?
My hot take is maybe. Yes, sometimes it's advantageous, sometimes not. And so we're going to talk about that today, right, Christie?
Yeah, I love that you took a firm stand.
Yeah.
My hot take is probably not.
Mhm.
Probably not, leaning towards no. So why don't we get in and unpack this? So let's talk about bartering, Bobbi. When do you think bartering is advantageous? So you said maybe first because sometimes it can be advantageous. Tell me more about that.
Well, certainly when you're a new coach, and I did this when I was a new coach, it did help my business in some ways because I didn't have a lot of money. So let's say there were services just like here, like fitness training, which costs money, and I couldn't afford it, but it was really good for my health and something I needed. So, trading services where we both need each other's, if it's set up in the right way with the right boundaries and sort of we're both benefiting from it, which I realize is not always the case, and we could talk about that. It can be really advantageous because of the services you're getting that you otherwise may not get.
Okay. So you also said maybe, and that it can hurt your business. Tell me more about that.
Well, like I said, I did this when I was a new coach. I did bartering. And a lot of times, because maybe the individual that I bartered with or the agreement wasn't set up correctly, or one person, well, not me, of course, but the other person didn't deliver as promised. Also you can feel like you're giving, and if they're not, and a lot of times they don't because it's your fault, because you don't set the rules and the boundaries, like I said. It could really hurt you because obviously you're giving time, which is money, and not getting anything in return.
And that's why I said probably not. So we don't fully agree on this because I'm definitely in the no camp. And I say no because I think that it is extremely hard to set up a bartering agreement that's fair and equitable for the time you need it to be fair and equitable without one person feeling resentment because someone underdelivered or someone else is over-delivering and not feeling that they're getting it, or someone wanted to change the terms, or someone wasn't as committed. I think money is an energetic commitment that's very, very important. And so I think it's important to have that exchange and that commitment happen when you're working on things in your business, right? A business is here to make money. You need to start getting used to spending money and making money and all of these things. And I think bartering can sometimes put you into a poverty mindset, if that makes sense, and or just be a distraction where you're not getting the best and it can make you resentful. And actually, one last thing on that, I do think sometimes when you're bartering with someone, you might not be getting the best, which can be bad for your business as well. Not always, but I think there's some really great people out there who are starting out who are happy to work and barter. And I'm not saying there's not, but I think on the whole, the chances of you getting something really good in a barter are less than if you pay someone who's got testimonials and who's got great referrals and other stuff that you can look at and see their work. So it can also waste your time in that way and set you back as well, because you might be getting bad advice or bad help. So I realize that's really, really, really negative, but
based on experience.
yeah, I've only bartered once in my business, and it was not helpful, and neither of us felt resentful. We both delivered. It was very, very early on, but it really wasn't helpful to me. In the end, she came in and did a couple things she said she would do, but then I was sort of left with this stuff, and I didn't even know if it was right. It was social media help, and she set up all my social media accounts and sort of gave me a few tips and ideas. Then I had all these social media accounts I didn't know how to run, and I hadn't actually stepped back and thought, do I even need to be on social media? And the answer, by the way, is no. So please go listen.
Yeah, we have another episode on that one.
Yeah, we do. So please go back through the archives and listen to some of our older podcasts if you're curious. But yeah, I think it's too easy to go wrong. And when you're a new coach, you're often overwhelmed, and it can be really easy for small things or even big things to knock you off track. You just don't know what you're doing, and it's easy to get derailed. And I think bartering invites the chances of getting derailed when bartering can be higher than if you hire someone, if you pay someone.
Your points are really well made, and they're all true. Here's where I think there is some advantage, and I did have positive experiences. For instance, when I was, and we're talking very, very new, where I have like no list, I have no clients, maybe one or two kind of thing. I did, and I think this would be considered bartering. I bartered for some free coaching in exchange for really detailed feedback and testimonials. To me, that's a barter, right?
Okay,
so I would not have had testimonials at the beginning if I hadn't given some free services.
Okay, that to me actually is
Different?
okay. Yeah, that's a little bit different. That is a little bit different. I think when people often, when they talk about bartering, they're doing an exchange of services.
Yeah.
And that's how we commonly understand it and how we started this episode of the podcast. Right. But you're right. There's a different type of bartering where and I don't consider that bartering. I consider that almost, the testimonials are a payment where some things you do when you're starting out to start to build your profile versus straight bartering. And I think that is okay. And that's a great way to get testimonials, you guys. We also have a whole podcast on how to get testimonials, and we talk about this in much more detail. But if you are starting out, offering some people in your niche a few free coaching sessions in exchange for testimonials, or at a much discounted rate in exchange for testimonials, is always a great idea if you're not feeling confident, or if you just want to start to get some testimonials ready to go. Yeah, Bobbi, chime in, please.
Okay, so you want me to actually address the topic is what you're saying. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's another example, like this example in terms of exchanging for fitness services. Same thing is when I was a new coach, cash was like going out, like in large globs, and something that I really needed to keep me healthy and keep me energized and keep me going so that I could do the work would be something like fitness services. So if you're going to do it, and everything you said is true, Christie, it's a risk. But if you're going to do it, I just want to say, don't shy away from making it a business transaction. It's still a business transaction. It's not, hey, let's just kind of talk about this and okay, let's do it. I'm going to give you some free coaching and you give me some free fitness training. No, it's like quantify it. Be very, very specific about what the deliverables are for each one of you. Be very specific about timeline, and be very specific about what happens if one or the other person doesn't go through. Consider it a business transaction, no matter how friendly you are with the person, because that's common. Make sure it's a business transaction, that you make your agreements very specific, that you quantify them, that you're very specific on deliverables and timelines, and put it in writing.
One thing that always comes to mind when I hear that is what Oprah said. She doesn't lend money, she gives money, because it's awkward when you lend money to people you know, and it can really impact the relationship. So just give it with no expectation of something in return. That always comes up when we talk about this issue. But for now, I think it's time for a little station identification and a word from our sponsors. And so we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, I want to give you some interesting alternatives to bartering. So if you're feeling like Maybe you want to try something different? Don't worry. I'm going to break it all down for you as soon as we get back.
We'll be back right after this message.
Hey there, coaches and go-getters. You know, sometimes it feels like those superstar entrepreneurs hit the jackpot with their flashy businesses. But guess what? There's a whole world of hard work, strategy, and overcoming obstacles that they've tackled along the way. In fact, it all starts with your business systems. So if you are tired of vague advice and woo-woo teachings, and you love the idea of step-by-step concrete help so you can rev up your business and get clients on repeat, then get on over to coachpony.com/barb, that's B-A-R-B, for our flagship training on how to build a real coaching business. Build a real business is waiting for you. Go to coachpony.com/barb. And welcome back to the Coach Pony Radio Hour. So I want to come at it from the other perspective, which is you're considering bartering. You've listened to this podcast. What I said resonates with you. And you're like, uh-oh, what should I do? I don't know if I want to barter, but I'm also a new coach. I don't have a lot of money. What do I do? So there's a couple things that I want you to think about in this case that are alternatives to what Bobbi suggested. So first off, you can start looking for a few resources for free to see if there's something out there that can help you get started without having to barter or invest money. Second, you can start identifying your number one priorities and just saving up. And instead of bartering, which might, especially if you have any red flags at all about the barter or you're feeling a little bit unfocused, save up for what you know you really need and then just invest the money. Third, you can look and see if what you want to hire for has a payment plan, or something, or a partial scholarship, or perhaps an introductory offer or something, whatever help that you need, and see if you can sign up for that first and then use that to get some return on investment. Since we're talking about business, with a lot of the stuff we're investing in, we're looking to get some return that's going to help our business. Even in the case of Bobbi's example of fitness, right? If you're working out regularly, you'll have more energy, you'll be more focused, you'll make more money, right? You'll serve your clients better. So we're always looking for, can I see that clear return on investment? How can I get that back? Fourth is, of course, read a book. And that could be an easy place to start as well. So if you're really struggling in that area, consider one of those options too. And don't barter just because there are so many pitfalls associated with it. And I shared one story. Obviously, I stopped bartering after that, but I've watched so many people go through bad barter experiences, like again and again and again, and regret it. And that's part of the reason why I feel so strongly about it. And also, I truly believe that energetic commitment of putting the money down and having a formal relationship with the best possible person, even though you might have to save up for them, they might be able to help you that much faster on the other side versus wasting a lot of time with an inexperienced person who might derail you. Save up for an expert who can get you to that result faster. In the end, you might get there faster, even though you had to wait to hire them. You might disagree with me here, and that's fine, by the way, but I just want to give you some alternatives to considering bartering because I don't want you to get derailed. I don't want you to get bad advice. And I don't want you to lose motivation and give up on your coaching. And create this sort of poverty mindset that you can't afford certain things for your business. Because ultimately, a business is about not only serving people, but it's about making money. And you need to be able to be comfortable with both spending and making money in order to build a successful coaching business. So that's my TED Talk. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know.
Are you off your soapbox?
I mean, it's so tall, it's really hard to get down because I climbed up pretty high on that. I don't know if you saw.
That's right. That's right. We don't disagree often, but holy cow, make your case, girl.
Yeah. Well, okay. Hey, listen. Hit me
back.
Last thing. Yeah, please.
Okay. One last thing. And again, you make good points, but one last thing is when you're a new coach, practice is really important. And so we talked about the idea about, delivering services in exchange for like testimonial and detailed feedback, and that's a way. But bartering also in some ways, the other positive, if it's the right situation, if you can set up the right partnership, because it's kind of like a partnership, you can get practice that you need in order to make some really important decisions about your business. And the other side of it is there is a lot of value in practicing. I mean, I didn't go into coaching thinking, oh man, I'm going to nail this. I know what I'm doing. I went in going, it's like, trying to get my procedures, my processes down and how I'm going to teach properly and support properly. And Anyway, so there's some value in setting up some situations where if you don't have paying clients, then you get some practice. And let me just say before you jump, I'm talking about like the very, very beginning of your business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
we both did it.
With bartering in particular, if you do it, it's better to do again, everyone can do their own thing, but a way to avoid a pitfall is to like for like. If I bartered an hour of coaching with you and you in turn gave me an hour of coaching for me, and it's like short, keeping things really short and similar like for like, I think is a way to avoid a lot of problems down the road with bartering that can derail you.
Yeah. Hence the quantify and qualify and
treat it like a business engagement, as you said. And, that's good training too. Like we're saying in some ways, you're right. We don't often disagree. And I don't think we are here in the way that we're both wanting everyone to treat things like a business. I just, my job is to help people get paid to coach, and getting comfortable with money is a part of that. And a lot of us aren't comfortable with money, and it's rude to talk about money and all this other stuff. But bartering, if you're doing it the way Bobbi suggests and you're treating it like a business, you're also getting comfortable in that mindset. And I think a lot of people do it really informally and very open-ended. And that's where a lot of the pitfalls can come. So you are training yourself to treat it like a business and start getting comfortable with this business engagement. And that's really what we want for you, because the business is a real thing. It's a serious thing. Bartering sometimes can be like a hobby. You're half in, you're half out. You're not really committed. You're trying things out. And so ultimately you have to go all in. So, if it makes you uncomfortable, good. Get used to being uncomfortable. Being in business is going to make you uncomfortable, and you got to develop and practice these business skills, whatever they look like. So did I bring it down?
Yeah, you kind of did. You kind of a little bit. Thanks. No, it is if you do it right. It is really good experience in negotiating. So, we brought up really good variation of points and things to think about. And that's why we're here, right? Is to help people look at the different aspects of making the business decision that they need to make.
Yeah, we always want you to make informed and strategic business decisions that are right for you. And that's what we're here for. That's what I believe over at Coach Pony. So if you haven't checked me out and checked our resources out, please do that at coachpony.com. And Bobbi's at datelikeagrownup.com. And so if you're in the dating game, you definitely want to see what she's up to.
Yeah, when you're dating like a grown-up, it's not a game. Just saying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just wanted to let you know that.
Nice.
Thanks.
Before we take a break, let's check in with the sponsors. Our show today is brought to you, of course, as always, by chocolate. Because we are both powered by chocolate, as it is medicinal. Today's chocolate is Easter eggs left over from Easter, which you find in the back of your cupboard, 2 months later, and you realize you have an entire bag of Easter eggs to yourself, and it's very delightful. And we're also brought to you by Build a Real Business, which is Coach Pony's signature flagship program on teaching you how to build a business that will be full of happy paying clients. If you have not checked out Build a Real Business, we call it BARB. Go to coachpony.com/BARB.
We'll be right back.
And we're back. Bobbi, shall we recap? I'm going to kick it off and say the first thing is bartering can often hurt your business, but there are specific places where it might be worth considering. Bobbi, what are those places?
If you're considering, make sure that it's aligned with your business, it's advantageous to your business, and that you approach it as a business negotiation.
Exactly. Treat it like a business agreement. The other thing that we want you to remember is that it can often hurt your business because it's easy to get bad advice, to feel like you're over or under delivering, and to get derailed. So just be careful and consider that instead of bartering, you do have other options like books, blogs, saving up to hire help, or looking for a less expensive version of a course or program to get you kickstarted so you can start making money, getting that return on investment, and invest even more in your business. And the final thing I want to recap is that whether you barter or not, get used to doing business things in your business and get comfortable with that. Whether, again, that's working on the energetic commitment of money or it's choosing to barter in a way that's business focused first. All right. So caller, I hope we satisfied you with that long and windy road that we took. And you got some information on bartering that can really, really help your business. Best of luck for you out there. And now let's move to our next question. Radio. Thanks for listening. You're awesome, Coach.